Dude, if you're seeing this right now, you're watching the Party with Marty.
We're here to party with Marty!
There you are. There's my rockers and rockettes. Welcome to another Party with Marty show. And we're going to be reviewing season 4 again. We've done partials on it because there was so many in 3. And 4's got a few in them. Yes, we'll be up to 5 next week. And then back to present time, I think. Y'all can't tell, but we were actually recording. Maybe can tell because sandbags. It's 5 a.m. We had to get this in early, record it, and then get about some crazy. Who's that over my shoulder, man? Get off me. Yeah, and get everything recorded and set and done. There's so much going on, and evidently everybody's like all of my friends lately. You know, yeah, I'm doing so much. Yeah, I got to do this, got to do that. And I know I've been that way. I know our co-host, and hypothetically, the best co-host in the world is having to do the same thing. We're all pounding and grounding right now. Let me bring my co-host in, the one and only, Greg Savage.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Jannetty. What's going on?
How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. We're getting ready to wrap up this Dark Side series. You're on season 4 now.
Yeah.
How you doing, by the way? How's your week been?
It's been loaded, but you know, we're getting through it. You know how we do.
That's a scary answer. Loaded. That can mean many things.
And loaded. I can't think it all.
So season 4 kicked off with Chris Candido and Tammy Sunny Sitch. Chronicles the tragic rise and fall of Chris Candido and his relationship with Tammy, leading to his untimely death. So let's go back there now and tell me, you know, something that maybe the Dark Side guys didn't.
With them, there was some untold things. We'll put it that way. They got everything, as far as I could tell, pretty accurate because, you know, Chris and Tammy we were all good friends. It was that couple you love to see. Everybody loved them together, you know, being together, although some of the guys loved them being together with Tammy more so than they loved seeing Chris and when I say Tammy, Sunny together. I you know, she was my friend and always would stay that way. Even now, you know, when I got mixed feelings of how to feel, you know, because this last DUI, she, you know, killed someone in the wreck. I don't know how much time she got. Like, seems like it was 15 years, something like that, 15 or a little more, which she may only have to do, you know, usually with good time, you only have to do half of it, but then you're on parole for the rest of the time. And according to where you are, parole and probation can be very tricky. It's designed to make you fail. But yeah, we had such good times together. There were sometimes we got upset with what we saw. I don't want to throw dirt on Sonny because I love her to death as my friend. But I was saying, I don't know how would you well, you don't know her like I do, but how do you feel about the fact I know you was a fan of hers, but the fact that now she's involved with, you know, somebody's died over her 6th or 7th DUI. How does that make you feel as a fan of hers?
Well, it kind of bothers me that it even got to that point.
Yeah.
You can only get away with so many things for so long. How many
Yeah.
times can they give you a warning? How many times can they give you, a small sentence? What's the right or wrong answer? I don't know, but it seems like in this case, the punishment fits the crime.
Yeah, I mean after 6 or 7, but at the same time, someone else should be getting some punishment behind that because y'all let her go all those times. I think she broke everybody's record, mine, Sheik, and everybody else out there that's wild. In 1 month, she got 3 DUIs.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I don't know how you do that. In Florida, the third one's a felony. You ain't going nowhere for a little bit. But I'm not sure all of hers happened in Connecticut. Or maybe they were Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, the tri-state area. Maybe they were spread around. And that's how she got out. But one thing I do know is because of who she was and how she looked, she got a lot of bonus help. If you know what I mean on that. Like the police did. Well, they knew who she was, the last couple of times because I think her boyfriend worked at the police station.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of people knew who she was before the internet became super famous for looking up hot girls. She was the most searched girl on the internet at one point, Mark.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. And, until all these girls started coming in and flooding in the WWE, she was out on an island to herself. I'm the one. That's another reason everybody was trying to get at her. That weren't a good excuse. But, then Sable came along and took some of that attention, so there was risk between them. And, like the old schoolers like Sherry Martell, she didn't give a shit, whatever, go ahead. Have my time. But so, yeah, she was the first big one. Then Sable, then a couple more came along and then it started, blooming into what it is now. I don't know how much of it went to her head. Now, she's been a fan forever. In 96, when I went back, it was still WWF at the time. Called me back in, like the 5th time of my release or hiring or firing, or, a lot of people don't realize I quit a lot too. I quit like three times, got fired 5 or 6, probably 5.
That balances it out. Yeah, that balances it out.
But the first day in, she come running up and she had the leotard things they were wearing is the body dinas. She come running up and she goes, "Hey," and she's like right here smiling. She's pretty, so I'm looking like, oh damn, welcome back. And she was like, "You remember me?" And I'm looking at her like, I wish I did, but no. And she says, "I met you maybe 10 years ago." I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a hard. That's because I'm thinking a one night stand type of thing.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was. I didn't have any idea. I just knew how pretty she was, and I'm thinking, yeah, great, all right, what a welcome back. But she took out a picture. I think it was a Polaroid. Remember them?
Yeah.
And it was a picture of her and I, and she was like 10 years old, and or about that, right about that. She goes, "That's me. I met you. Remember? I don't even know if they're around, but Jumping Jim Savoldi. Do you know that name or no?"
Sounds a little familiar, but I can't say it off the top of my head. If I see it, probably.
Yeah, they ran shows. I don't know where they were based out of. It was Massachusetts or Connecticut, but it was up in
Northeast.
Yeah, they ran the Northeast. That was the first time I seen the Jersey Shore and the boardwalk and all that was a show for them. But she, I don't know why I brought that up, but she had come to one of their shows, and hang around the back where the guys leave and getting pictures and as a kid, like a 10-year, 11-year-old baby. Yeah, and I looked at it, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, holy shit! I remember this is '96, so I'm a bit younger than now. And damn, it's almost 30 years, ain't it? Oh, 6. Wow, God, Savage. It's gonna come
Just
time in
listen.
your life.
Don't do the math in your head, man. It's never gonna end well.
It's gonna end up in the air somewhere. But this is coming soon. You got about another 10 more years of freedom. Like, I ain't worried about shit. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Then all of a sudden I gotta hurry. And when you look back, it's amazing how when you look back, it's so fast it went by. But it's just a thought away. You can go back and remember your first car that you ever had.
Of course.
However many years ago that was, it took that long to get to that memory. So when you're looking back, it always is like, God, time is flying. Like 20 years ago, or this, we're talking about 30 years. 30 years from now, think how far away that is. But so back with her, she had, I'd met her there. Of course, I don't remember meeting her and all, but, just looking at what she bloomed into and, like, okay, so I got ends with her because I met her, evidently was nice enough to make an impression on her, all that. And then Chris walked by, had the same, they had that blue leotard looking stuff, the workout stuff. And I saw him go by and he said something to her. And I said something. She said, by the way, you're working with us tonight. And I was like, and I just got there. There was TV taping. And I was like, well, okay, working with y'all. And who's y'all, you and him? She goes, yeah, that's my husband. Then that was like the wind out of the sails, right? It was like, I ain't going to mess with you, because a lot of things I do wrong, but that's one I don't, with married women. So that was out. But nevertheless, that was my very first meeting of her that I knew of. I signing the picture, the Polaroid. I really didn't remember, because there's a line of people. When I went and talked with Chris for the show, our match that night, loved him to death, man, because he was so into it, and he was telling me about the matches he'd studied of mine, and I was like, God, I like this brother. And we put a pretty good match together and had a good match that night. That was my introduction, and it was great. The match went well. We started hanging out and talking to each other, and at that time, I think we worked against each other every here and there, not straight through like a story or angle or anything, storyline, but as you get to know him more, like Chris was, for me, man, I loved him right off the bat, and then just it grows and grows like a snowball rolling downhill. Yeah, it's bigger and bigger, and then we even started writing together. That's when I really took offense. I shouldn't say took offense, but it kind of was, knowing and seeing that the other boys were messing with one of the boys' wife. Granted, she was there with open arms, to make it easier if anybody was like me and like, no, I don't, no, not married. Nope, I don't go that route. Standing there, our arms open, it's going to be a little more tempting than just standing there. But not for me, but just saying the other guys. We started riding together. It would be her, Chris. At that time, I think either Al and I were not the New Rockers yet, or we had just finished. I think we weren't yet. We're not yet the New Rockers, because then we'd always ride together. But we'd get a van, and a bunch of us would pitch in and take the van, especially if we had like 4 days in one area, like fly in Chicago and do Milwaukee, Green Bay, Hammonds, Evansville, wherever, all nearby drivables, which was always a pleasure because you got 3 or 4 days. You only had to open, pack, and unpack once in your hotel room, and you got to stay in the same room for nights. But we'd rent a van. It would be Davy Boy Smith, British Bulldog, rest in peace. It'd be Gold Dust. He was doing the Gold Dust then, Dustin Rhodes.
Mhm.
The Smoking Guns, Barton. What was the other one? Kip, as far as the names. Billy.
Billy.
Yeah, but I think it was Barton Kip, I think, at the time, as far as for Smoking Guns. It would be us and then Raven. Yeah, this was okay. This was definitely before the New Rockers because Raven and I had to work with each other a few times. Well, he was actually Johnny Polo at the time. If you remember that, right?
Yeah, Johnny Polo, the manager.
Yeah, and what a brilliant mind he's got. He's a goofball cut up like me, except he's a genius. He's in that Mensa Club thing. I don't really know how that works. You should be in it. What do? You sign up or something?
I don't know. The Mensa Club?
Yeah, where your IQ is, I think it's got to be 150 and higher.
Oh, okay. So it goes off IQ. I didn't know that. Well, my IQ is so high off the charts it can't even be detected. So I mean,
I figured that. Like what's his name? My doctor for the shoulder said when they asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain is Marty in daily? He says, 12. He didn't even hesitate. 12. That'd be you. You're off the charts up there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that could have been anything, but I just, I fucked up in so many different areas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what they used to say, man, when I was breaking in. The boys back then, when it really wasn't, the top guys were chump change money. But they would say that, hey, what would you do if you hit the lottery? I'd keep wrestling until it was all gone.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's very right. Back then, at least. But, back with them, they you couldn't help but love them. They're a cute little couple. They both studied nonstop with the wrestling techniques and storylines and psychology. They were into their bodies for real, not just the body downers for that. They were freaks on that too. They wanted to know every molecule. They wanted to pass their tongue. They had that down pretty good. Like I said, you couldn't help but love them. I mean, they were perfect together. And she really did love him. I guess she just loved sex more. I guess. I don't know. It's none of my business. But, yeah, there were a handful of times not just me, a few of the guys heard her telling, I'm not going to say names, but told Davey Boy to come around. Oh, shit. Might have to X that out. Sorry. Had said to, come around, everybody be out here. It was like a partition. If she didn't realize you could hear the other room, but they invited it off so she could have her own room, not dress in front of the guys. Too bad it wasn't at today's time. You can with the transgenders now, you can dress guys and girls in the same room. But yeah, we could hear her making plan. Come in here and lift my skirt and fuck me hard from behind. We were, well, at least I was. I'm like, oh no, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to know. Well, I mean, we already knew, but you don't want to actually hear it, And then for the person that did it, I was like, no, man, gosh damn, come on. I was just kidding about the name. That's not the name. I was just, I like to do that. I'm not going to say her name and didn't say it. That's all that was for. But yeah, there was some memories with them. They, New Bane was a big thing back then. It's a pain reliever, injectable. Most of us would take it right in the shoulder, like wham. Some people would run it, bang it up in the vein, which I never did because, I mean, I don't mind shots at the hospital when they got to draw blood or whatever. Put an IV in you, and that's fine. But outside of that, I don't want no needles in my arm for putting something else in my body. So I would never do that. So I can't speak for what it does differently. They loved it. And several other of the guys, I won't name Tanaka or anybody. They loved it. Banging it. I didn't want to find out, but shit. I mean, it was good as was. Once you took that pain shot, it didn't take like 30 seconds. The pain is max now. Now you're not hurting. and you get a little mental lift from it, you know. So it was great. All the guys were liking it. We had found a way to buy it off the internet, so you didn't have to be regulated. You could take it as needed, as you needed, or as you wanted. But they got caught up in that too, to the point where I've told this before. I think Sonny got, I don't know who got worse of it, but Sonny got to where, you know, she was just doing it to, she would be like, she'd come to the ring wagging head and, you know, all that. We were in Australia, and on the tour bus, they had just gotten, you know, I don't know if they flew it to Australia or just got it at home and brought it with them, which would have been hard to go through customs with it. But, you know, whatever they did, it was something, they just got it. They wanted to test it out. Chris went to the bathroom on the bus, and time he came back, he looked at her and goes, "Yep, it's a good bag." Because I guess there's fake shit you can get off the internet, or you do get hit with. He looked at her and smiled. He goes, "Yeah, it's good." And she runs to the bathroom with her syringe and bottle or whatever. And Chris and I sitting there talking. We had a match that night together, and we're talking about something to do different, you know, that you know, people haven't seen us do. But then a little time went by, and he's like, "Where is she?" And I'm like, "Yeah, damn, she's been gone." You know, oh no, it was a while, maybe 5 minutes, but it seemed like forever. And he got up to go get a check. Said, "You need to go check on her," you know, because I knew what she went back in the bathroom to do. And he got up and he goes, "Ah, shit." We looked, and Sonny was hanging out in the bathroom, sort of, got her arm out, and the needle is still in it. Like I said, I don't know how it works, but I don't know how I can hit you that fast before you can pull the needle back out. Or maybe she was doing it slow. Again, I don't know anything about that shit. But maybe she was running.
Or maybe she was already messed up to begin with before.
Yeah, and it hit her immediately because, man, that's, you know what first thing we thought, seeing her hanging there with the needle in her arm, you know,
yeah.
that's, she's gone. But now she was all right. But like you said, maybe she was already messed up because that night, Chris and I worked each other. And, you know, of course, she would come to the ring with him, and she had put a wig on. I don't know where she got it, but it was the ugliest wig. I mean, it was a long haired, it was a witch wig. I mean, it was horrible. You know, and back in her good days, it was hard to make her look bad, but she looked bad. Plus, she had gained weight and, you know, was caught up in everything they might have been doing back then. But she walked out to the ring, and I seen like a little dangling in her hair, a piece of paper, and you know, I jumped out the ring, and she's supposed to come up, make a threat on me, and then something happened out of that. But she can't quite take her steps without waddling all over the place. I'm like, oh, God damn, this is embarrassing. I was like, hey, just cut the spot. It was just let that go. And she turned, and that little piece, it was a piece of paper. I thought she got some paper hung in her hair. It was a fucking price tag. I mean, she must have just bought that somewhere real quick right there in Australia. And I'm like, oh my God. And people, as she was walking by, first row seats, they could see it, you know, $9.99 or whatever the cheap ass shit was. But everybody was just giggling as she would walk by. And I'm like, it's so embarrassing. It felt so bad for her, you know, wearing that damn wig and the price tag hanging out of it. And she's gained a little weight. And so she had her skirt pulled up right to the middle of her belly, and it was almost a couple jelly rolls. It wasn't that bad, but, you know, it was like, when she sees this straight, if they recorded it, she's going to be very upset. But, yeah, Chris and I went ahead and got through, had a great match there. Got a standing O, leaving both of us, which means the crowd was very pleased. That's always the goal. But, yeah, man, she was, yeah, again, as I say, as I'm talking, like I'm talking shit on her, I love her to death. But there was just things that I wish you wouldn't have done. That's all I can say. I can't be mad at myself. I mean, what could I have done? I think I had said y'all need to slow down, or you can't go tell people what to do with their life. But you can make some suggestions that might, if you feel like it might help, and then it's up to them to take that or not. And you can't force it. But yeah, Chris, I would say, didn't get, maybe because he was in the ring more often, he didn't get as messed up, if that's the way to say it, as she would at the shows, during the shows, after the shows. But yeah, he kept it together a little better. With what I'm going through now, Chris, I think about Chris quite often because he had what was his leg he broke or something down there in Orlando at a show for TNA. I don't know who it was, which group, but he had broken something, and they did a little mini surgery patch up that night, and told him go on home. There's nothing we can do here. But they had him flying within 24 hours of surgery, which is no. And sure enough, this is what I understand is the real story. Whatever they said on Dark Side may be true, may be accurate, but this is the story that got out to all of us right away, which doesn't mean it's the most accurate either. But yeah, he had the surgery in Orlando and flew back to Jersey and was it aneurysm? You remember? Are you there?
I don't recall.
I don't know. Well, it was from a blood clot, though, and that's the reason you're not supposed to fly. Like this, well, not this weekend. A couple weeks, I go to Vegas, and it's going to be real close. I'm trying to hold off to after Vegas, WrestleMania week, for this next surgery. But if they do it before, if they have to, like, we gotta get you in now, or we can't do you till summer, that's going to suck, because I can't wait till summer to get this thing fixed up again. And I don't know when I've seen you in person last, but you know of it. We talk all the time. It's on and off. This right ankle from the last surgery on it. I can go a couple weeks sometimes, and I'm like, good. Let's not even worry about putting the joint back in. And then step on, like just a few days ago, in the parking lot at some little strip mall, there was a rock about that big round. Not even that, but about that size. That's all it takes with my ankle. There's no joint in there at all. And step on it. I stepped on it, but the least little turn sideways. Now I'm back. I got the crutch, to walk around outside, the wheelchair in the house. It's just, and it's back and forth like that. But I guess what I was going to say was that the surgery, if I do it today, this is showing what, Thursday night, the 3rd.
April 2nd.
Huh?
We're on April 2nd right now.
Right now, this will show the 3rd.
Yeah, show tomorrow night. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what, 13, like right at 2 weeks before the week of WrestleMania week and all the WrestleCon stuff. Which remind me to talk about that here in a little while when we get to it. But that's, again, Chris comes right to mind. It's like, look what happened to Chris. I mean, you want to get this surgery 2 days prior to your flight, then you're okay. Because I think they say 24 hours. But, and I don't remember what they said on Dark Side, how long it was. It was the next day. That part we know for sure. It was the next day that he flew after his surgery. But, I mean, that's a big consideration all the time. If I've got big events coming up that weekend, I got I'll finagle and weasel around with the surgery dates so that I can make those shows without worrying about getting a flight in, right afterwards. I'm thinking for myself, I'm trying to give at least a 72-hour, a 3-day cushion between surgery and any flight, just to be safe, because with the gat luck, and gosh, how many times we've opened this damn ankle up. But yeah, there's no way that I don't think about Chris all the time. And then, like I said, watching that, pretty much what I saw that I know of was pretty accurate. It was, sometimes he doinks, which I guess we'll get to today.
I don't think so.
Oh, no? Did we already do him?
We're 31 minutes in, and you're still on episode 1 of season 4.
Episode 1, first guy.
Episode 1.
Well, we done with that. I mean, that was a good couple there. Tammy, still a friend. I've not been to visit her. I don't even know that she would put me on the list.
Oh, that would be a great episode. You should try it. I'll drive you down there if she lets you.
Where do you know where she is?
Isn't she in Florida?
I was thinking it was up that way. It might be. You might be right.
She might be in the Flow Rider.
Flow Rider.
All right, we'll keep it moving with episode 2, which was Magnum TA. It explores how he was poised to be the next big wrestling star before a career-ending car accident changed his life forever.
Yeah, when I first broke in, I wrestled 10 days in Mid-South, which is where I think was his first territory. Man, he was just his first year, I think. I don't know, it might have been 6 to 8 months in, but fuck, he was over with the people. He was over with, Bill Watts, the promotion. And it's just a very nice, level-headed guy, too. And he looked like my best friend, DJ Peterson. I mean, they look so much alike. I didn't know that then, of course. I had not met DJ. But the only thing I know him, he was very nice to me. I was like maybe my 4th match in the business. And he knew I was nervous. He came over and he put his arm around me. He's new too. Remember, it's not like he's a seasoned veteran. Yeah, calm down. It's this will do that and we'll do. And we're sitting at the curtain watching the matches and also looking at the girls go by. And it was the first time I really just put my foot all up in my mouth. This one girl was coming, very beautiful, was coming right towards the curtains. I'm looking at her. She's looking at him. He's a good looking dude. And so I'm thinking, shit, she's zoomed in on him. Then I nudge him. I'm like, hey, bro, see her coming straight toward us? He goes, yeah. I said, damn, I think she likes you, brother. She's staring you down. He goes, I hope so. That's my wife. Never talk again, man. Just keep it about shit. But he was going. I mean, he shot up, bro. Bill Watts loved him in Mid-South, which was a very nice, very good territory. It did a lot of driving, ridiculous amount of driving.
I think it was the mustache, man. He had that look,
Yeah. A little bit of the Jakish. I mean, if you ever,
I see it.
Yeah, and we have showed DJ Peterson, Dave Peterson. They are even more like, they're almost twin brothers, real close. But he had, I was around him that and maybe 2 other times before that. I've not seen him since the accident, which was 30 years ago. But he was just such a nice guy. Willing to help. He's
kind of looks like Goldberg with hair right there.
He does, Tony. I mean, he's a rookie too, right? And he's over there helping, calm me down or giving me words of advice or whatever. And not many of the guys will do that. If you go ask a veteran, usually they'll be glad to give their opinion or whatever help. But a rookie, I mean, they're trying to, we're competing with each other to get higher up the ladder. It's not going to help. But, nice guy, man. It's a shame that happened. And again, with the accuracy as far as the dark side of the ring, I'm assuming they got most of that right. I don't know. The whole car wreck and where it happened, how and why and all that. I don't know. That's all I know on Magnum.
Damn shame. All right, we'll keep moving to episode 3, which was called Breaking the Cycle, the Graham Dynasty. Tragic history of the family, marked by mental health struggles and suicide.
Yeah, they almost rivaled the Von Erichs as a family, right? I met Mike, Tampa, Florida, which I think that's where they all lived, was Clearwater, Tampa Bay area. He came to when XWF came. It didn't last but about a month or two, just long enough for me to do 4 jobs in it, and then it's gone. And they all aired. But he came in and helped out at the school with the new guys. I was down there helping out at the school with the new guys that would be with XWF, Extreme Wrestling, whatever it was called. That was at Universal Studios, I believe. I might be wrong, might be right. Anyway, not that matters, but God, he was knowledgeable, man, Mike. He was so knowledgeable. Is he still around, or he's gone too now, right?
I believe he's gone, yeah.
Which would have been in the last few years. I mean, I was impressed with him, how young and physically in shape he stayed when he was. I think he was like 10 years older than me at the time. That was in 1999. I was 39, I think. And he was 10 years older, 11 years older. So I think he was right at 50. He said, and he was in the ring bouncing around with the guys. I mean, as if he was 25. I was like, holy shit, That made me want to. That means I thought I was doing good to get up in the ring at 39 years old, about to turn 40 at the time. Might have turned 40, but whatever. I pride myself on being able to still go pretty good at that age. And then I saw him. I'm like, shit, I've got to do it for 10 more years. So I equal him. But I was very impressed with him. He was very nice and knowledgeable. Kind of, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You talk to some people, and they're carrying on like they're all invested in that conversation, but you can tell they're somewhere else. Physically, they're there and can conversate very well and stay on point. But they're just not all there. I don't mean crazy, loopy. I mean their mind is on something else or something else they're thinking about. I guess you got to be talented to do that, to carry on a conversation, an intelligent conversation, yet be somewhere else at the same time. But I guess they went through some shit. He's the only one I knew out of that family. And that was what it was from. And that was the only time we were around each other. So that's about as much as I can throw on that one.
All right. We'll keep it moving to episode.
You know much about them? The whole family?
I know a little bit, but I would like to say I know more about the Von Erichs. I think that whole thing was just way before my time. And, they haven't done a great job of like putting it out there. Documentaries, movies. Their family should have a movie as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that'd be a rival or close. It's just good as anything's gonna come to the Von Erichs. That's just not even. That's like it's
a horror story.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was like a story. It can't be true.
But again, this whole dark side, a lot of it is sad.
Yeah.
What happened to Doink the Clown? It examines the dark side of Matt Bourne, the original Doink the Clown, and his troubled personal life. Let's hear what Marty can add to this.
Him and I were good friends, fairly close there at the very end. He, at the time I was living right around Toms River, New Jersey. And he was up the street about 40 minutes, 30 minutes or so in Jersey. When he was with that girl, Jill, I don't want to say names. So, so I'd go up to see him, hang out and party with them. I think he might have come down once to hang out with me, but it was at the end. He already had the reputation for heavy partying, and the evil clown was just an extension of of itself. That's one of the reasons I think it worked so well, because that was him, the evil clown. I mean,
he was good, man. I mean, like as a kid,
yeah.
he
Oh,
was
he's a great
scary.
worker too. As
He's
far as
fucking. Kids were scared of him.
what's that?
Kids were legitimately scared
Yeah,
of Doink.
yeah. Well, because you could see in his eyes, like, yeah, I'm smiling. But just watch what I will do to you. You just knew, like, now let me lean back. But that's, and like I say, that's he loved to have fun at others' expense, other people's expense. Yeah, I love him to death. We
Yeah,
rode together quite
usually
a
the
bit.
best way to have fun.
Right. Yeah, we rode together a lot, so got to know each other. You always get to know each other a lot better when you make towns travel together, 2-3 hours in a car, having a beer or two, and talking about stuff. And the longer you do that, the more of their life you get to learn, and you're basically living their life too when you hear about it. Same with them. But it came down to it was up in Massachusetts. I don't know where. I can't remember where. It doesn't matter. But it was a convention. I think it was a wrestling show and convention. And we started, it was like Friday through Sunday. And we started partying. And I mean, when I say partying, rolled through the night, into the morning, into the day, rolled through the night. We went from Friday when we got there. Sunday morning, I started to like, you start nodding like Tanaka did me that time when I took to go, wham, bam, bam, bam. I was doing that, and he was laying on the bed. I was there, and Princess Victoria, one of the girl wrestlers, was laying over on her bed. It was actually her room. We were just hanging out, cutting up that morning, and I got, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of a blister right there. I nodded out. He'd bump me like, "Hey, what are you doing going to sleep? I'm leaving today." I didn't realize his flight was early Sunday, so he wasn't going to be there but a couple more hours. He didn't want nobody sleeping. And I nodded out, "Man, hey, stay up." And he said, "You're being rude to the princess." And next thing I know, I jumped. He had taken, nodded out again. He had taken a cigarette and just kind of laid it right there. And I was like, "God damn, man, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Man, now it's a Sunday." And, he was like, "Who knows when I'll get to see you again, if ever." And he had to go down. He was staying in two places. I won't say Connie's name, but it was a girl down in Texas he was staying with down there. And he would stay with Jill up in Jersey. And of course, he had his ex-wife that I don't know about that. He would talk on the phone, and it was always an argument. And then I think there was somebody out in Oregon. He had a few girls. But, it didn't make sense to me, when he said that, if ever. I'm like, well, you'll be back up here. Shit. And the thing I could just stood out to me was when I told Darkseid, so why didn't y'all talk to me? Y'all knew we were friends and pretty close, and I could have gave you the dark side of the ring. I could have gave you the darkest story, and facts about him that people don't know. But so we're getting ready to leave now, or he is, to his flight. And he comes up and he gives me this hug. And Matt's not like a sentimental kind of guy, certainly not a romantic. And the reason I'm saying that, he handed me a bank bag, the little zipper bags that bank deposit, or money you deposit at a bank for business.
Yeah.
He handed me one of those. He goes, "I want you to have this." And I'm thinking it's some money back. I'm thinking, he ain't giving me money. And He goes, and look after Jill while I'm gone. Well, I'm not going to say Jill's name, but he says, look after, keep eye on Jill, make sure she's okay. And so I'm thinking he must know he's going to be gone for a while. Is he going out of the country? Is he got a long ass tour? Go, what's going on? It's just all, fluffy. It's not a box of fluffy ducks, as he'd always say. Very confusing, but not so much to like, hey, stop right here. What's going on? It wasn't like that, but it was just, a little scratch your head like, And I didn't want to open, look, see how money and all that right in front of him. So he didn't ask me to. He said, just wait till I'm gone. And he left it and waited, to make sure he didn't walk back in. But I opened the bag, and it's a wooden frame. It was hard. I could feel through that. And it was a wooden frame, 5x7, maybe, if that, maybe 3x5. I don't know. But it was a picture of him and Jill, which I'm not going to say her name, but it was a picture of them, arm around her together. And it was so odd because, again, he was not a sentimental, not nearly romantic type of guy, He was a roughhouse. He even elbowed his girl. Like, what are you doing? Chop, But it was like, that threw me for a loop. All this shit's like, what the hell? What am I going to do? I'm going to hang this on my wall. What do I do? And when I had got back to my home, my place where I was staying in Jersey, my roommate knew Matt very well because we all hung out. And I told him, I said, Matt gave me this to hold on to. I don't know should I hang it on the wall? Should I put it in a drawer? What I do with it? Then he looked at it. He goes, Matt gave you that? And so, yeah, he said, look after Jill, which I'm not going to say her name. But he said, I told Jimmy, my buddy, I told Jimmy, I said, yeah. He said, look after Jill. And I'm not going to say her name. And, handed me this. And he goes, that don't seem like Matt. Matt's not that kind of guy. Same thing I was already thinking. It was confirmation when he said it. But that was like Sunday morning. He had a noon flight or something. So about 10 o'clock, 9:30ish, he was gone. He was leaving. Gone. Boom. I think it was Monday night. The next night, I got the phone call. He was gone. And I won't say Connie's name either, but she had called and told me the details, that he went down, found some guy from her place, went out, ran into some neighbors, a couple houses down that were outside barbecuing and partying. And he joined right in. And they said that they came, she don't know what time it was, midnight or whatever. They came beating on her door, said, we can't get him up. We can't get Matt up. We can't get him up. Evidently, whatever he did. And then they said he took more shit and they pills and whatever else they were doing. He did more than they've ever seen anybody do. And he fell down. And, Matt could party. When it came to doing all that stuff, he could hang with anybody. So when I heard that part, I'm like, that ain't like Matt, But she ran over and woke him up, got him up, and helped him back to her house. And she walked him in, set him in a lazy boy chair type thing in front of the TV, and she waited. She said, for a while, and he said, told him I'm going to bed. Are you coming or not? And he waved her off. And she said that she waited for a while, for him to come back, but he turned the TV off and just sat in the chair, and we'd be quiet for lights on, but quiet for a length of time. And she went to check on him, and he'd just be there. Then he was sleeping. She didn't want to wake him up. Because in the Dark Side of the Ring episode, they talk about they tried to put it on her, which was very horrible. That's the only time I got mad at the people with Dark Side. It's fact checked the shit out of me, but not her or not him. And but they were trying to, the family and everybody else trying to say Connie knew she could have done something. She let him die. She knew he was dying. all that crap. She told me right after it happened, all this. And then she came and checked on him again in early morning, like 5 or 6 in the morning. And she said she'd heard this horrible sound she'd never heard come out of anybody. And it was like a growl. And she called 911 and talked to them, told them, and then held it. She goes, I'm sorry, but that's called the death growl. He's already dead. He's already dead. They sent somebody out there and, whatever. But, to place blame on any person for that is very horrible. I wish Darkseid wouldn't have done that. The Ring, they wouldn't have done that because that's just so wrong. And then all kinds of other stories were told about the women and who he owed them, who he was doing wrong, and what he was doing. It was I don't know. That one probably to me was the worst episode of all. What's next?
All right, let's keep it moving with.
Give me about 5 minutes before we end to talk about some stuff I got to promote.
No problem. So we'll probably leave it off on a couple of stories about Mr. Junkyard Dog. They did his episode as well. The highlights and rise of the Junkyard Dog, beloved wrestling star, and his struggles with addiction.
Well, it was funny. I met him for the first time. I used to watch him when I was younger, probably early teens, maybe mid-teens, whatever it was. I'd watch him then. I met him. So, when you've been watching somebody, you know what that's like. When you've been watching somebody on TV, then you meet them. It's kind of weird, but it's cool. But you don't know how you're supposed to act. Like, how do I act? I don't want to act like a fan. But yeah, he was funny, and we hit it off right at the beginning in Mid-South, like when I was telling you with Magnum TA. And remember one time I picked him up. We were riding together and picked him up at the airport in when it was with WWF. And first we're riding down the street. Marty, which way to Hood? I'm like, I don't live here, bro. I don't know. He goes, I got to get something from the hood. I knew exactly what that meant, And we went by where there was some black folks all standing around in the corner. He goes, right there, turn right there. Went and got what he needed. But Junkyard was a good dude, man. Everybody loved him. He was a cut up, not bad, but a real lighthearted cut up. Good. He understood the business and what he was there to do, perform. And like they said on Darkseid, he was one of them, black entertainers with wrestling that really got the biggest push. There were some others. I used to watch them, with Thunderbolt Patterson and Bobo Brazil, Rufus R. Jones, my good friend. But for some reason, he started rising above everybody previously in the black world that was in wrestling. Great guy, partied a lot. He did do that, but that's about all I got. I don't want to make nothing up just to get something said. So next.
All right, no problem. We'll keep it moving. The next episode was the tragic fall of Adrian Adonis. Moving on from Junkyard Dog over there. What do you got to say about Adrian Adonis in their episode?
Adrian, I'm not even sure I worked with him. That's sad, but that's my memory now. I fight with CTE, and now it's starting to hit the memory. And as everybody tells me, that's old age. Yeah, but I've been struggling with the CTE shit. We just didn't know it before.
Well, I know you worked with this guy. I guess we could keep it moving with Mr. Abdullah
New
the
Jack.
Butcher.
Yeah,
that's not New Jack. That's Abdullah the Butcher.
But don't he look like New Jack a little bit?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And they had an issue. I think New Jack got pissed off at him because New Jack felt he gave what's it called? Hepatitis.
Hepatitis.
Some blood thing. Hepatitis B, C, and all that shit. I think he's called hepatitis. But
all right, well, you're coming close to that 5-minute mark. So why don't you give us something quick on Abdullah and then take us out?
Okay. Well, with Abdullah, I've known him. We call him Spanky here in Georgia. He grew up, up street in Atlanta. I was always here in Columbus with Jerry Oates, and got to see him shit when I was, God, I had to be 10, 11, 12 years old and watch him on TV. Then meeting him in person was scary because he would let out all them weird, high-pitched yells and be bleeding, and he didn't know it at the time, but when he was doing like this, look at his forehead. He'd had razors on there, and he would just be raking it out and just covered blood. I mean, and the thing with him, from what I understood, because I never worked in the ring with him, either tag, battle royal, or anything. I've never been in the ring with him. But back in his younger days, he'd have his fingers taped to where they're just a blade sticking out, and he wasn't really careful with locking up. I got nothing bad to say, but I love him to death. But I mean, if the stories are accurate here, well, that's kind of, if you don't let the guy know I got razors on my fingers, and be careful because I may accidentally, but he would lock up with people and they have cuts on their shoulders, and when you hit them, they get a cut on their face or whatever. But yeah, he was brutal from the beginning to the end. I just saw him. Hell, you was with me. Where did we see him at? One of the conventions within the last year, and he's, his health is real bad right now. He keeps going, but and he's always been big, but he's real big now. But I love him to death. Spanky, I don't know why the hell we called him Spanky, but yeah, he's a good brother. And
Abdullah the Butcher, man. All right, well, you got 4 minutes left, so we can either you can touch on Bam Bam if you want, or do you want to?
We'll get him. I'll talk about him next time because I have talked about him before.
Sounds good.
On the way out here now, I want to hit up on coming up in Vegas in a couple of weeks. WrestleCon. We'll be there. I'll be there Thursday. Well, I'll be there for 4 or 5 days, all weekend. So swing by to see me. Going to have all kinds of little things that we'll be selling at the table. This guy is aggravated at me. He says, "You haven't showed me once. I worked hard for this." I don't know that we'll have the action figure, but we will have this belt, Intercontinental, and then the World Tag belt, which a lot of people say, "You and Sean never won it." Well, Sean and I did win it. And then Sean and I won it again. Sean Waltman, the 1, 2, 3 kids. So I did the both belts. We won't have the tag belts there. Might have, the one that I'm calling the tag belt, which is, these are different. Let's see. I don't know if you can see them. I'm sure you've got some of these at the house.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. These things, this was a gift, and we thought, well, let's make some. 30-something years after it happened, can you see it? It's like a clip-on pen. Sean threw me through the barbershop window. That's amazing how much mileage that storyline got. If Brett gives me Brett said, make sure you sell some of my glasses. That you just. They roll up.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we might have a couple of those. Let me ask you your opinion on this one, because you're good with that. And you do a lot of sales. This is just a little goodie bag.
That's nice. Yeah, I've been seeing those. People are getting excited about them.
Yeah, it's got the sticker, and you got different little rock candies in there and stuff. What would it, I don't know, like 10 pieces of candy and the sticker in the bag and the whole novelty item. What would you sell it for? Or ballpark?
I think you guys had it marked down for like $8, right?
I think so, yeah. 7 or 8.
8 seems fair, and 10 even seems reasonable, especially if maybe you give them some of your DNA with it.
We'll probably dance around that. The thing is, though, they, you know this. If it's $8 or $7, you're dealing with a bunch of ones all day long.
That's true. So yeah, I would just do 10. I would either do $5 or $10. 5 or 10. Yeah.
Okay. What else? We got a bunch of that we're gonna have there.
Or maybe you can do 20 with an autograph, and you can sign it for them too.
No, that works. Yeah. Some combo type thing. Yeah.
$50 and you might, drop a load in it for them.
Yeah. Oh, so you want me to put a bunch of package deals together? All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we may have some action figures there if we're not sold out by then. Also, and this is the 3 set with Amble, rest in peace, and Tito and I think all Intercontinental champions in that thing. We got this. I got a few left. I know, this was the classics that sold out right away. It was the first one to sell out of that series right there. And also you can go to my newest Facebook, since they shut the one down that I had for years, and then buy stuff there and bid on things, because some of them there's only, for example, and see, do you remember these days, Savage? If you told me you watched, many years ago when I was wrestling, you remember who that is?
Oh, that's cool.
It's a little throw rug, Midnight Rockers. These are items that there's not going to be a stockpile of, so we'll probably take the highest bidder. And any of these things you've seen, you can go to, it's Marty Jannetty at martyjannetty.com. But as far as Facebook, go to the Marty Jannetty. It's got a cartoon character on there now, whatever you call it. Oh, you can go there and bid and offer prices on any.
Yeah, I gotta say that cartoon character that looks like John Morrison.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
So with that being, let's make some changes to it. But yeah, and other thing, anything you've seen here, if you want to go there and bid on it, please do. Or we'll have some of the pictures of where you can buy whatever we got a stockpile of. But yeah, and Vegas coming up in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna be there, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
I don't know if you're for the full ride or the last few days or whatever it was, but
I believe I'm there for Friday night till Monday morning.
Till Monday morning, Friday, Saturday. Oh, that's pretty good. When's the second WrestleMania? Is what, Sunday? Yeah, of course.
Yes.
All right, then. You got anything you want to add? Where you're going to be?
Nah, I'll be in the area, man. It's Vegas, bro. I'm probably going to be in jail.
No, I mean shows wise.
Oh no, nothing. I got nothing cooking this week. We're just wrapping up the Dark Side series. Hopefully, we can wrap up season 4 next week, and I'd like to maybe get a WrestleMania.
Well, not 4. Let's just go ahead on it, because we've done it for like 3 pieces of it for 3 episodes now. Let's just go to 5.
I wanted to see if we could get a WrestleMania episode in there before WrestleMania, but I need you to do some homework. I need you to do some homework and check out what's going on in WWE, and I want to know what you think about all these different matches.
Oh, the matches yourself. Okay.
I'll just the match cards. I want to know what you think about the main event, John Cena, Cody Rhodes. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been keeping up. There's a couple of storylines I haven't really followed through on, but I've been watching, keeping up. Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's talk about the ones you give a shit about. But yeah, let these people know that you'll see them next week.
Okay, I wouldn't put it like that. I give a shit about, but the ones that I am, that caught my interest.
Hey, listen, Kevin Nash is out here calling wrestlers fat and out of shape. What are you worried about?
Which ones is he looking at? You can't say that about
Jey Uso. He said Jey Uso's out of shape.
For him, maybe, they might have put on a couple pounds, but the Samoans always do that as they get older.
Well,
there's very few of them that stay right there, that they were. Some do, of course, but look at Roman. Roman did pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
so next week, same place, same time?
Same damn place, same damn time, which is Thursday nights with a Party at Marty channel, 10 p.m. Same damn time, same damn place. We'll see you there.
Woo!
Yep.
We're here to party with Marty.